Hi, Clay Daniel here with a Clayborne LSAT logical reasoning video. I want to talk to you today about strengthen questions using an example from test 71. So if you want to pause the video for a moment, you should go to your LawHub account. You can pull up test 71. It's part of one of the free tests available. Go to section 2 and number 6. Test 71, section 2, number 6. We have a strengthen question. The question stem is unambiguous. We have the word strengthen there right in it. And if you've listened to some of our other videos or kind of addressed argument questions before, you are probably aware that your first task is to read the stimulus, the argument, but especially with a focus on kind of directly finding the conclusion. That's task number 1, and then building around it your sense of the understanding of the supporting evidence. Out of respect for LSAC's copyright, we're not going to read every word or all of the answers here, but you can see that the last sentence is the conclusion, as indicated by the word hence. And so we want to put together our understanding of why they're saying the complexity involved in chocolate masks the difference in taste. And the main evidence for that really is just the complexity itself. Now, to me, this is the kind of argument that sounds good on its face. It's hard to immediately point to a problem with the argument. It's distinguishing chocolate from vanilla, but notice that it doesn't actually explicitly distinguish them. In other words, it says vanilla, people don't like fat-free vanilla as much as they like fat-free chocolate, and it's giving an explanation as to why, and it talks about the complexity of chocolate. Strong logical reasoning performance depends so much on careful reading and also on noticing not only what's present, but what's absent, what is missing, getting used to seeing that there can be often when two elements are compared, there is something missing about one element in the comparison. It is assumed, but not actually said, that vanilla is not as complex as chocolate. That would have to be true, right, for this argument to make sense? They're saying, chocolate has this complexity, and that's why people tend to generally like the fat-free versions of it better than those of vanilla. But that's not going to make any sense if vanilla is just as complex as chocolate. So it has to be assuming that vanilla is significantly less complex in its flavor than chocolate. And I say assuming intentionally, because even though this is a strengthen question, often the right answer to a strengthen question will simply be a necessary assumption. If we find out that an assumption is in fact true, as a strengthen question invites us to presume, then all of a sudden the argument becomes stronger. Perhaps not altogether proven, but stronger. As I emphasize on our weaken video, keep in mind that weaken doesn't mean the same as disprove, and strengthen doesn't mean the same as prove beyond a shadow of a doubt. There may be other reasons to doubt this conclusion, but it certainly needs to be the case that, as D says, vanilla is known to be significantly less complex than chocolate. I think this is the kind of scan of the answers that can be fairly direct and intentional. If you see the absence, that missing factor, wait a minute, how complex is vanilla? They didn't actually say. That'll help us really home in on answer choice D, but we can also note just briefly, some of the other answers have to do with what people were aware of in the taste test, what they were informed of, things like that that really aren't relevant given the way the evidence is presented. Or maybe a choice is too broad, like choice C, giving us this kind of continuum of how many compounds are in a flavor and therefore how many people like it. Or we also have choice A, which refers to the full-fat versions of chocolate and vanilla. That's not going to help us with anything relevant here because we're talking about the fat-free versions. So D it is because it is the assumption that is required. I hope that helps you. as you approach strengthened questions, keep looking for the assumptions, looking for things that are missing. Fill in those gaps, and that's often what a right answer to a strengthened question will do. We'll talk to you soon in other videos. Let us know how we can help you with the LSAT.